guys, how's it going? I'm going to introduce myself for everyone new here. I'm Natalia Schneimiller, and I'm a coach for all of the moms of boys and girls too, but boys have my heart. I help women stop causing fights in their relationships with their boys, with anyone else, by teaching them how to manage their brain so that when anything comes up in their life, they know exactly what to do to manage themselves so they can show up in a loving, supportive way or any way they want. They can choose the way they want to show up. And so that's what I do. And today I want to share a situation that I just went through myself and how I helped myself solve it. So if you have a similar situation, especially in your brain, it could apply to work, it could apply to your personal relationships, it could apply with your kid. I want you to listen to what my problem is and kind of see how you can apply this to yourself. And so I want to tell you that, the message of this today is that you can solve your problem by, first of all, telling the truth. And what is the truth? So the problem is sometimes what I had with my son, for example, is that I had a desire to be there for him, to do bedtime, because I have 4 boys, they don't ever get alone time with me unless it's a bedtime, right? And so I've kind of set the precedent of where I spend a little bit of time with them each night, and they can chat with me, talk to me, snuggle with me, do anything. And they love it so much. And when I was growing up, I loved it so much. So I want to do that for my kids. I am doing that for my kids. And yet I found myself where I did not want to do it. But it was so hard for me to say that, admit that to myself, and especially to say that to my child. As a mom, it's kind of like a crime. It's almost like it's impossible to admit that you don't want to be with your child until you finally do that, until you finally tell yourself the truth. Then you can move forward and tell your child the truth. And so how this problem was manifesting itself is that I was basically imprisoning myself. It was this thought, like I should be there for him. And so I would show up and be there, but because I didn't actually want to be there, there was 2 parts. I want to be there, but I don't want to be there. And so I was there, but I was resenting myself and having to do this. So I wasn't really present as I wanted to be, and I wasn't in a kind, loving way, right? I was frustrated. I didn't want to be there. Sometimes I had good moments, but so that, because I was frustrated, he would feel it, and then he would get frustrated because this is his sweet time to get some love from his mom, but his mom was frustrated. So he was not getting the love that he wanted, and so he was getting frustrated. And in return, I was getting frustrated because, first of all, I don't want to be here. Second of all, I'm here for you and you're frustrated. So now we have to spend all this time figuring out why you're frustrated. And so it became kind of like a fight, kind of like why are you frustrated? Why are you frustrated? Why are we all frustrated? Why is this not a nice, loving time? And so I had to dig deep and notice how I didn't put it on my son. This is not my son's responsibility to figure this out. He's a child. This is my responsibility to figure out, what am I doing here? What am I thinking here? How am I feeling here? Why am I doing all of this? And so that took work, and it's like an investigation that you almost have to start in yourself to figure out what is going on. And this is what I figured out is the truth. The truth sometimes takes effort to come to, for me anyway, and sometimes we know the truth sooner than later. So the truth, when you come to the truth, and this is what I came to, is that it was actually really hard for me because my mind, it works like all or nothing. It either wants to always be there for all of my boys all the time, or it wants to decide, okay, since it's too much for me, then I'm never going to do this. I'm just going to cut the bedtime short, and then everyone's going to get like 5 minutes, and then this is how it's going to be forever. But instead, the truth was, and I actually told my son this. I said, here is the deal. I'm going to just be honest with you. Sometimes I want to, actually all the time I want to be there for you, but sometimes I just want to be alone. Sometimes I'm too tired. Sometimes I don't have it in me to be there for you. And I said, can we please be flexible? Because you are important to me. I do love you. I want to be there for you. And this is just what I've got. I can't always be there for you in the most best way like you want to. And you know what? He said, yeah, okay, I can be flexible. But to come to that sentence, to that little conversation, took a lot of work on my part. Because, again, I had to investigate. I had to dig deep to find the truth in me. Because I was tangled up in all the, I should do this, I should not do this, I should give everyone equal time. I should, work on my thoughts and figure out the best way to approach this. And I should, figure out a way to be always loving and kind. And all the shoulds came up, lots and lots of shoulds, because, I'm thought, okay, this is my number one priority, right? I had all these reasons why I should do this the way I should do it. I should always be there for him. And so to get through that to the truth of, but sometimes I don't want to, it took some time and took some effort. And not only that, it took some also time to be okay with it, to be at peace with it. That's a very important part, right? Because if not, I'm not in peace with it, then I'm still conflicted in myself. I'm still fighting myself. And then I can't go talk to my son because I haven't figured anything out. There's two people in my head fighting. So this is what I want to suggest to you guys. If you're also black and white like me, and you also have two things in your head, I want to do this job, but I also don't want to do it sometimes. And that's a key word, I think, sometimes, because there wouldn't be a conflict if we didn't want to do it, the job, or whatever that thing is. Because we do. And the job, right? If we're talking about our kids, the job for our kids is being there for them. And let's just be honest, is that we don't want to be there for them sometimes. That was super hard for me to admit, but now that I've made peace with it, it actually makes so much sense, because this is just a human thing. We don't always feel like doing something, right? It's not always 100%. Sometimes we will not feel like doing something. So then be honest with yourself and admit to yourself what is the actual truth. And the solution to that is just telling yourself the truth. And then you will know when you found it, because you will feel calm and certain about this. And it won't be the truth will include all of it. It will include the part of you that does want to show up for him and the part that also doesn't, right? And what do you want to do instead, right? Sometimes at the end of the day, I just want to be alone. I'm just too tired. I just don't feel like talking or being with anyone. And that's the truth. But we have to drop the part where we're feeling guilty about it. We're like, oh, this was for me. I should be with my son, right? I should be a good mom. Sometimes being a good mom is not being there for a kid. That's controversial, but of course that works sometimes. So if that's the problem that you're facing, this is what you can do for yourself, is tell yourself the truth. And tell your son the truth. And sometimes being in that middle of sometimes, the truth is both extremes, I also want to, but I also don't want to. That is the reality of our life. If we look at all of our life, at all the days and all the years, it will include both. So why don't we tell ourselves the truth that sometimes we want to and sometimes we don't want to? And that definitely I need to hear a lot about a lot of things, because I'm all or nothing. So if you're all or nothing person, this will for sure help you, because it's hard to be in the middle. We want to be all or nothing. We want to eat healthy all the time or eat junk all the time. We want to exercise all the time, or we want to not. We want to just rest, rest. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'm sure it will be really helpful. And this is the impact it will have on your relationships, is that you will then be able to smooth out everything with the other person because you already smoothed it out with yourself. You've already told yourself the truth, and so you're not in conflict. You've cleared things up with yourself, and then so you show up and you've accepted the way you are. So then showing up for the other person is a piece of cake because you've already done that with the main obstacle, with yourself. Okay? And so that's how you can show up for your son, is by clearing up things with yourself, investigating what you're thinking and feeling, telling yourself the truth, accepting that truth, and then you can have an honest conversation with yourself, son, and move on from there. It'll be easy. The truth is always the easiest thing to say. Okay, guys, I love you so much. You always know where to find me. I am always on my website, www.coachingnatalia.com. You can book a free session and we can talk about everything that you have in your mind about your son and what you're worried about. And I can always help you and move forward so that you can have a guilt-free, fear-free relationship with your son, so you can simply enjoy being a good mom and having a good boy. Okay, guys, I love you all so much and have a great week. Bye.